Welcome back to the Jeremy Werner Show. We love our baseball, chatting a lot of hot stove the last couple of months, really ever since we started the show. But it is baseball season. Pitchers and catchers have reported, but also Illinois baseball gets underway this weekend. And right now we go to the Jupiters across the phone line. Welcome in Dan Hartleb, Illini baseball coach. You feeling a little warmer right now, Dan?
No, but I will in about 24 hours, I hope.
That's right. Heading down to Beaumont, Texas this week. Well, Dan, let's start here. 23 and 28 last season. I know that's not what you wanted. How did last year shape the off season for your group?
Well, there's a number of things that, we're a little bit different. Last year we played a very large number of players that had never played before, number of true freshmen. I thought we would take some lumps last year, but we did that in order to have long-term success. And so if you look at the off season, push guys hard. I was very demanding on them to do things correctly and do it the right way. So just trying to change a mentality of where we were a year ago. And it's all a learning process, and some things that, again, I knew we would go through, but you can't sit back and just let things be the same all the time and expect to have success the following year. So I did push these guys hard.
Yeah. Only 4 freshmen this year. I know you added a lot of transfers, kind of went transfer heavy with recruiting. What was the idea behind that, Dan?
Well, we thought we had a good nucleus and a nucleus that we could win with. It just worked out. As you started looking at what some of our deficiencies were last year, the young people we had in our program, and the spaces that we need to upgrade. So, we did go some transfers. Some of those transfers were already in place. So,
right.
A year ago, and they had to redshirt last year. So it's been a 2-year process with some of the transfers.
Yeah. I know Jack Yalowitz had a big season last year. Freshman Mike Massey, now sophomore, had a big season last year. But talk to me about Zac Taylor. What's he added to the lineup coming from Houston?
Well, Zac has very good speed, and he can be dynamic on the bases. He's shown the ability to put the ball in play on a regular basis in practice. So I would say his speed, hopefully he's consistent at the plate where we can hit him at the top of the lineup, and then he can create some havoc. Right now he'll start in center field. But we'll see, we'll see how he performs, compared to everybody else. And then I'll make some final decisions on how the lineup will, be made up the majority of the year.
Yeah. So in a month or so when you guys return home, what do you expect out of your lineup? What kind of identity do you see with this roster you have?
Well, I think we're capable of being strong 1 through 9 in the lineup. And when you don't give the pitchers a break, or they don't have, 1, 2, 3 slots where it's kind of a pushover, it's very, very difficult on the opposition. So I think we're a team that will have some pop, some gap power, some guys that can run in the lineup. I don't think we have many guys that are slow. We have 1 or 2 slots where we don't have great speed, but other than that, I think we run pretty well. And with that comes, I think, very, very good defense. So the lineup, again, solid top to bottom and very good defensively.
That catcher position always important. Alante would always want me to ask about it. So Jeff Korte, I know, is a guy that plays probably a big role into that. Another transfer. What do you think about Jeff so far?
Well, Jeff's done a good job receiving. That's one of the areas that we wanted to try to improve a little bit, along with the offensive side of things. I think he'll be a very, very good receiver. I think he'll help us as far as having a good left-handed bat in the lineup. It's one of the areas that I think we upgraded ourselves.
Yeah. He's Dan Hartleb, Illini baseball coach, joining us now on the Jeremy Werner Show. You returned a lot of your pitching, Dan. Where's the strength of that staff?
Well, I think the depth. If you look at where we are right now, I don't know that we have any one pitcher that's dominant, but we have a lot of pitchers that are good. And as we move into these early games, we do have what we consider, a good rotation, but we need to see who settles into that Friday night game on a regular basis. Right now we have Ty Weber in that slot. We have a left-hander in Andy Fisher that's going to go game 2, and then Cirillo Watson in game 3.
Yeah.
But we also have a couple other options of guys in the bullpen that, as we watch and see how consistent guys are, a couple guys could push those guys as far as, having the opportunity to be starters.
Dan, you mentioned playing a lot of freshmen last year. Is it the same kind of, adjustment for guys in baseball as it is in football or basketball that we see?
Well, there's always an adjustment. And if you look at football and basketball at times, some of that can be physical. Yeah. They're just not physically strong enough to bang around the way you need to in those sports. But I think if you talk to any coach, one of the major obstacles that you always have is the mental portion of it. Guys are facing many times better players than they've ever faced. Definitely in baseball, you're facing better lineups 1 through 9. And it just seems like there's more, just more on the line. At least the pressure that guys put on themselves, they feel like they're putting, or that there's more on the line with those games. You get much more exposure. You're on TV, you're on radio, and I think all those things kind of weigh on some of young people's minds until they get used to it. So, again, not so much the physical in a lot of cases, right, but the mental portion is the same.
Well, Dan Hartleb, analytics has made its way into baseball, has been the last couple of decades, and you guys seem to be embracing it. You guys got a new app that kind of measures, all these different things, exit velocity, launch angle, all these different things. What do you think that could add to your coaching staff?
Well, I'm not 100% sure yet, honestly.
Yeah.
There's some very good feedback that we're getting from a coaching staff standpoint. But I think we need to get a year under our belt, right, really evaluate the data that we have and see where it can be helpful. What we are using is called Flight Scope, and Flight Scope's being used in a lot of tournaments where we're going recruiting. And so to be able to compare some of our players with some of the players that that we're looking at to recruit, I think that'll be invaluable. But as far as what it's going to bring to the table for the guys we have in our program, I think that's yet to be seen. Again, a lot of good feedback from a coaching standpoint. I think, we need to be careful so we don't give the players too much, right, where they're worried so much about, what their exit velocity is, and then they start overswinging, or what their spin rate is on their breaking balls, and they start overthrowing. It can be a fine line on what's helpful and what things can hurt you.
Yeah, Dan, I'm wondering from your perspective. Been in baseball a long time, but I see analytics as information, and more information, the better for a coach. I think you can use it how you want, but there's also the part of baseball, the human element of baseball, where there is that factor. How have you kind of evolved with analytics and just kind of the balance between just your gut, what you see, and what you see with the analytics?
Well, the one thing that the analytics and the technology they do not analyze and don't have a feel for is a human aspect.
Yeah.
I have to sit there and look at how guys handle pressure. Times you just look at their face. You look at their actions, and they speed things up in tight situations. You can't measure heart. It's something that, you have to kind of sit back as a coach and watch some things unfold. You could have a guy that's got the best spin rate on your team and can't get anybody out. You have a guy with a great arm that doesn't throw strikes. But if you look at the analytics of it, there's some great numbers there. So again, it's a fine line, and I still go by gut instinct.
Right.
There's some things that I do. You go back. Give you a great example. You go back to David Carrion, Big Ten Player of the Year in 2015. We have a great year. David Carrion hit in the 7-hole. The thing that people didn't realize is every time I tried to move David Carrion up in the middle of the order, he put so much pressure on himself that his batting average would plummet. Moved him back towards the back of the lineup. He was very comfortable, and he hit for a high average and ended up being Big Ten Player of the Year. So, analytics don't show those swings.
Yeah. You're in Beaumont, Texas this week. Dan Hartleb, Illini baseball coach. What do you think of the competition, and what are you hoping to see from your club?
Well, the competition is going to be very good. Lamar is a very good program. There's going to be some unknowns going into that because they do have a lot of junior college and transfer players in there. I don't know a lot about Texas State. I've never played them. And then when we get to Missouri State, they're usually a super regional type team. So it's going to be a very, very competitive weekend. As always, we're going to have to play clean games to come out on top. I expect our guys to go out, be very competitive. Expect them to, do all the things that we've worked on in practice as far as being solid from a defensive standpoint. We should be able to throw strikes because that's all we work on all winter, and we should be able to put the ball in play. We've had an opportunity to get out outside 2 days already. We were out yesterday. We'll be out again today. And so, being outside, I think, takes away the mental, maybe the mental block that you have not being out every day. So our guys are excited to go out. I know they're excited to play. We're at a point with practice that we just need to go out and play and see where we're at.
Dan, I got one random one for you because you see some great college players that are both great pitchers and great hitters. Your Reds drafted Hunter Green, Brendan McKay out of Louisville, obviously was a big-time player, and you got Shohei Ohtani now in the majors. How difficult do you think that'll be for a major leaguer to be successful as both a pitcher and a hitter?
Well, it's difficult in college. I mean, we recruit guys that want to play two ways, and usually within about a year or less, those guys come to us and want to concentrate on, one aspect. I think it'll be extremely difficult for somebody to go in and be successful on both sides of the ball, basically. If someone's able to do it from a physical and mental standpoint, it's going to be a very, very special athlete. So it'll be fun to watch them and see, how it turns out. Awesome.
Well, Dan Hartleb, good luck this weekend, and we'll catch up down the road.
Great talking to you guys, and look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, that's Dan Hartleb, Illini baseball coach. Get started down in Beaumont, Texas this weekend.